Good evening and welcome to the Job Search Solution, the radio program where we talk about looking for a job, changing jobs, changing careers, hiring. And as always, we begin with a prayer. Dear God, grant us thy peace and thy mercy. Thy will be done. And in just a few minutes, as we do every Wednesday evening, Rich Levinsky is going to be with us talking about consultants in the workplace and issues they're faced with. By the way, if you have any questions for this program, in fact, we're going to answer one of those this evening, you can email me at tony@babich.com. That's TONY@BABICH.com. I wanted to address last week, we talked about references and on the part of the employer getting references on a candidate and the kind of references that they need to get and the way they need to get them and all of that. This evening, I wanted to discuss briefly how to do references. Most people really mess this up. And I want to give some thoughts and ideas about some of the things we found. This is not all of them, but it's a great majority of them. First of all, if you're a hiring authority, and you're going to check references, and only hiring authorities should check references. The people that are responsible for the job should check references. Write out your questions and ask the same questions of every reference that you call. You should call mainly hiring authorities, but people that might maybe have worked with the candidate before or supervised the candidate, maybe in some cases a customer or two. So ask the group of people that are in your organization that have interviewed the candidate if they have any questions about the candidate that you would want to ask a reference, and write those down and use those. Write them out because there's a tendency to go off into tangents, and you want to stay away from tangents. Set a tone on the reference check by explaining to the person you're checking a reference with that you're interested in the best interest of the candidate and the fit into the organization, as well as what is good for your company. I'd set aside at least an hour for a reference. It may not take that long, but I would set that set about an hour. Make it clear what the job is that you are interviewing the candidate for, and give a brief, reasonable description of the job. And then have the person you're checking the reference with give a explanation of what that individual did for them. Don't prompt them about, I understand that the candidate did XYZ. Say, what did this candidate actually do for you? And get a real clear understanding of what the candidate did, how the candidate did it, and how well the candidate performed. I can't tell you the number of times over the years that I've had candidates embellish about what they did. I work mainly in sales. I've had candidates that claimed that they were the sole producer of a particular sale, and they were merely a part of 3 or 4 people that did it. And there's a really big difference. So make sure you ask the authority, the ex-hiring authority, or the person you're checking a reference with. Make sure you ask them exactly what the person did, and then ask them how did they perform, and ask them specifically what they did, what they liked about the candidate, what were some of the shortcomings of the candidate, especially in the performance of their job. How would you have made the candidate better? What did the candidate learn when he or she was with your organization? What successes did they have? What failures did they have? Where could they have been more successful? It doesn't mean you're not going to hire them by any means. Doesn't mean that at all. But you just want to know where they were successful and where they weren't. Explain the role you've got in your company, and ask them if they could elaborate on the candidate's ability to do the role. Get them to talk as much as you possibly can, and you do as little talking as you possibly can. It can be friendly, but realize that it is a business situation. You may not get everything you want out of the reference that you might expect. Have low expectations is what I would always say. If you get something high in the expectation arena, or something more than you asked for or looked for, then so be it. Don't have a problem with that. But then ask the person that you're checking the reference if there's anybody else in their organization that might be able to give an indication about how this person performed in the past, because the best prediction of what a person's going to do in the future is what they've done in the past. Make it friendly, make it clear. Don't expect too much, but expect enough, and more than just get factual stuff. Don't get things that everybody like them. Liking it isn't as important as can they do the job, and are they capable of doing your job because of the job they've done before. All right, we're going to take a short break. Stay tuned. This is Tony Bashara with the Job Search Solution.